My name is Bassam Shandir. I'm working with FIS, and the purpose of this session is to familiarize you to work with some coding in PowerBi, basically. So first of all, this training aims to provide you some basic information about M code and the DAX, which is data analytics expressions, when using PowerBi. Also, you can use these two concepts when you're working with Excel using Power Pivot. But at the same time, but today we will focus mostly on Power BI. This is the purpose of the session. So as Manon mentioned, this session will be for 1 hour, and it will be divided into two main sections. So first we'll talk about the M, and the second one should be the DAX. And in between we will have like 5 minutes to answer some questions. This is our structure to today session, and we would not hesitate. We'll continue to the first part. So what is the M code? So M code basically is a tool of ETL, which stands for extract, transform, and load technology. And this technology, Microsoft call it data mashup. So this is why you see the M here. The M code is coming from data mashup in red. So what is the ETL means? It's first the extract, like meaning to connect to data source. It could be like file or from web or a database engine like SQL Server or Oracle or Postgres or any of that. Next, the data transformation. Here we can do the data cleaning, wrangling. We can merge queries. We can add grouping. So those people who are familiar with SQL, they will understand exactly what I'm talking about. The last part is loading the data. So for Excel and for Power Query, we will load the output of this manipulated data into tables or pivot tables. But in the Power BI, it will be loaded to a data model. So what is the features of M? So M is functional language, means like it's consists of some steps. Each step is built on the previous ones. Let me move to our first like hands-on here. So here we will use Power BI, and we will work on a small data set on Excel. So let me just show you the data set itself. So here we have this data set, which is basically consists of 2 sheets. One is the needs, kind of assessment of need assessment, and one is for the 4WP codes. So you can see there is some relationship between them here. This code, the admin for code, and this column, which is called code. So in order to import this data set into Power BI, we can go here to get data, which is the first step. We can use extract the data itself, the file itself, or we can use the improved or the advanced option when we have the file on SharePoint. So we will go back to our file, and we go here to info, and we go here to copy path, and we will go back again to Power BI. So here we will go to web. After that, we will paste, and we will make sure that we will delete this last part from the path, and let's keep it like the file name should be the end. And now when I click OK, so basically it will open this file. As you see, it reads the 2 sheets we have, the needs and the P code. So we will check, because we need both of them, and we will check them both. Now we have 2 options. One of them to load the data, which is not the recommended option. The need of or the advantage of using Power BI is to use the transform data. So transform data will open the Power Query editor, which you can see here. So here we will have our queries. So each Excel sheet will be represented as a query here on the left side. And on the right side, we can find the properties of the query itself, the selected query. So here we can find the name, and absolutely we can change it. And we have the applied steps. So this is the user interface that can manipulate our M-code. So M-code is written behind here. And we can see here we have the ribbon, we have like all options to do the data transformation here in this tab. So we can like change the type, do the uppercase, lowercase, split columns, a lot of issues related to data cleaning and data wrangling. So where we can find the M code. So we have 3 places actually to deal with M. The first one, as you can see here, we have here the formula bar, which is represent for each step here. It will have a different line of code. So here we have the applied steps, as we mentioned in our slides. The first one will be the source. And after that, we will have the navigation. So we can see this step is based on the previous one and feeding the next one. So the order here is crucial. And as I mentioned, we have here the code in this formula, just only for this step. So when we can add or we can see exact code of M. So in Power BI, we have 2 places to see this. If we go to Home, and after that click Advanced Editor, so it will open this window, which will give you all steps in one place. So this could be like our script here, and we will come later to the let and end steps. So the first issue is here, we should go to the play option. We can find some interesting options here to like about the column number. It will help us how the editor here will look like. And after that, if you can see here, we have these variables here, which is pretty similar to the names here in the steps. So if we did everything here, if we are ready to go, we will find our data to upload it to the data model. But first of all, we need to check our data to see what is the problem in our data. Do we have any problem? So if you see here at the top, you will see the column names, and you will see here these icons, which give you the data type of this column. So when you see this calendar here, it represents a date. When you see here this kind of let's say here, it is text ABC. But when you see this icon, this is not recommended. So the best issue here is to change the data type, which we can do it from transform status. We need to change the data type here. And if we go select, we can select Shift and click. So hold on Shift, and we can select all these columns. And because we know all of these 4 columns are numeric. So if we go here and choose the data type, so we will choose the whole number, you will see we get some errors. And these errors because the basic data in our data set here, it shows we have a dash here. So instead of 0, it just came this way. So we need first to fix this issue before changing the data type. So what we can do, we can go 1 step back, and after that we can add a step here just to replace these dashes with zeros. So again, we will select all these columns, go here to replace values. It will give me this message. This should be inserted in between the steps, and we click insert. So the value we need to change is dash, and we need to replace it with 0. So this should be a numeric value. Now we click OK. We have zeros here. And now if we go back to this step here, you will see all the errors are gone because the problem is solved. So pay attention when you change here the names or change the steps, because if you go back here and you change something and the next step will base on it, it will give you some error. Do we have any question right now so far?
So far, no question in the chat and no hand raise.
Okay, that's good. So we will back to the advanced editor here to see exactly what is the actually. We can reach it from home session tab or from view, so we can select it from here. So if you see here, we have some, as I mentioned, we have this let statement that this let n is an expression statement in M language. That means it gives us the output of value. So each line of these are represent a variable which should be ended by comma. So the end of this line, it's really like Excel workbook to give up this content, and it ends with comma. And then the next step here, it starts with a different name, and it will be based on the same name here, and ends with comma, and so on. So unless this is will apply for all steps or each step, unless we repeat the last one. So the last step here will be without this comma. And when the mashup engine see this, like it ends without comma, it will expect to have the end statement. That means this is the output of our query here. So if you see, sorry.
No, he's talking to another person.
Okay.
Now he's mute. Yeah.
Okay, so no, so no question right now. So the last statement is in, and here we can find our output. So this should be basically the last step name here, and but to be like any one of these. So if we just put here the name of this step, it will just ignore the last one here. So if you can agree with me, this code is a bit ugly because you find here this hash, you find here this double quote, and what is the reason? Because here we can find like good looking names, but here you can find them just with all this changing. The problem is when you have a space in the variable name, it's okay, but it's need to be surrounded by double quote and with hash before it. And the reason behind this is to be distinguished from the internal text inside our code. So here you can find this in red, but here this is represent a variable or step name. So what should we do in the first place is to come here and change all this and remove the limited spaces from it. So we can go right click and rename, just remove the spaces. And again, we will do it for this one. So this is the best practice. And once if possible, just try to give like a descriptive name here. So we know promoted header, it's okay, but here plate value, doesn't give me that information about what is replacing or what the reason behind it. So if we can add like a keyword here, just like we can do here, like replacing like hash or like the dash with 0. So this would be a bit helpful. So now when I come back to the advanced editor, you can see this is much better. Okay, please, sorry. Just need to rename this again, and we'll come to solve this later. So if we come back to the editor, so we'll find now the names are more readable, and the code looks much better than before. So first of one of the first issues here, when you open the advanced editor, if you miss something here, if you did something wrong, like any typo, any like remove something, your job will corrupt. The whole script will not work, and maybe you don't know what to do, especially if you are new to M language and you don't know exactly too much about it. So the first advice when you use this editor is just to take a backup. So we can go here, Control C, select all Control C, and after that we can open the notepad and paste it here. So now anything can wrong, like anything is not working, it actually will give you here an error, and sometimes I don't know. Maybe I just said it by mistake, I don't know. So it will be better to have a backup of your script before you go. And now I will start this, and let's move to the other issue. So as I mentioned, be careful to the step names because this represented as a value, and you need to know that these names are unique. So it's not allowed to duplicate the names here, because the engine by end of the day it need to reach each variable based on its unique name. You can see here we have two queries, one called needs and one called because. This is just a loaded one, but we can create our own queries. And if you can see here, we can right click and use the blanket query. So here, if you go to the advanced editor, maybe I want just a simple calculation here. Let's say I need variable 1. Let's say it's like 10 and comma var2 equal to 15, and I'm here. We don't need to have the comma. We just need to add it here, and we need to be careful about the case sensitive in the M language. And now, if we just click done, we will find we have query, and if you can see here, the icon will give you what expected from this query. So this query will return 15. And if we do more work on, like, based on your work, it could be a bit advanced. But here we will try to do some additional work. Like we have variable 3, which is var1 plus var2, and for sure we need to make this. So now, if you see, sort of that. You see here, the result is 25. So here, if you see this query icon is table, so we can expect when the result will be a table. We can create specific queries to before, like you change this one, you can make it like a query for like number something. So don't keep it just keep it like the default name. So here we are talking about the data types. if you see, we can create variables for as text, the same methodology. So go to advanced editor and can here use text variable, put it ABC, and here text to CDF to save. And so we will say like our output like out equal x1 10% x bar 1, and here we can use the text out metro. And as you can see, you can find here the letters what give you an indication that the output of this query is text. I should move a bit faster. So the first advice here is just to keep it simple as you can, your queries, and try to make it easy. It's not like try not to complicate yourself. Now we'll talk about some data list, some data types. Sorry. So we talked already about the basic one, about the numeric, about text. So we need to, if we need to create another one, just for the list one. So if we want to add here in the advanced editor, or we can just write here from here equal to this kind of list. So you can see it. This could be a data type inside your tab. So we need to, and there is some functions are responsible to deal with this list. I should run a bit quicker. So the next issue is we need to talk about is how to add some comments in our code. So for instance, this. So here we can go to the advanced editor, and as I mentioned, I don't need to put a lot of text here. I can just go here, and for this one, I can add some comment, and this comment will not be recognized by the mashup engine. So if we put like double slash here, this step is to comment, and as you see, it's in green color, and it will not be recognized by the as a code. But for anyone who want to check the data, the script, it will be helpful. This is for one line, and if we want to add for more than one line, for multiple lines, we can use slash star and here, so we can write our comments here. So this will be useful to our work. And if we click OK, it will be fine. And you can find it here. Like you can find the comments here. It will be an indication about your work. The last issue I want to mention in M, and we are running out of time, that we can add some steps, some additional steps. Sometimes maybe you need some help, and you are offline, you don't have internet in some context. So if you just click on this button here, it will be referring to the last step we mentioned here. So if we just come here and add hash shared, and it automatically will be highlighted in red, and this will give us a record here, if you see, and we can convert it. Will open automatically a tab here in this ribbon, and we can have the possibility to convert it to a table. So if we have it here, we can go and do our filter if we need to find some function, for instance, for this one, and I need to know some information about it. So it will give me here some description about it. So I think this is the main topics I was planning to highlight. I hope I didn't miss anything related to the M. Sure, after we finish everything, let me just remove those because they are just temporary. After we finish everything, we can go here and close and load, and this will be loaded into the data model. So the data model is the conceptual representation of our data with entities and relationship. So here we can find we have two tables, and of course we know there is a relationship between them. So let's just create it. So we have this column here, the code, and we have the admin for code, and you can see it's automatically added. So this is crucial to our dashboard to work. If we don't have this active relationship, our filtering will not work when we're working with the report review. I think I covered everything I need to do. So please, if you have any questions, raise a hand or drop it in the chat.
Thank you, Bassam, for this introduction about the M code. As of now, we don't have any question in the chat.
This is a bit weird because I expected to have some questions.
So, colleagues, now it's time for Q&A, and we have a hand raise. Please, Francis.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Manon. Thank you, Bassam. Very interesting. I'm really amazed of the process and what you have done so far. But I don't know if it's a question, but it's a request. Can you please get back, show us how you manage the last steps? I don't know if I've been distracted when you were doing that, the formulas before having the function and transforming it to convert it to table. It's like I missed it, and I would like to understand better. Over.
Yes, sure. So now we can see here in our data model, we have these queries. So basically, we have two of them are our concern. This is just for sake of example. So if we go back to edit query, so when you click this button, it will repeat the last step. So it will be referred to the last step, which is change type here. And if we go here to write hash share, it will be colored in red. So when I click enter, so this will automatically give me a list or record of all these functions which could be found in the documentation of Microsoft. But sometimes you don't have the like the internet, so you just need to read something about one function, or not about its parameters or description. So it will be when you click here enter, it will automatically open this ribbon to you for record. And after that, if you click here, this will convert this record into a table. So this will give us some choices of like filtering. So if you are looking for something like maybe I look for some grouping like something, and I need to know exactly about this specific function. And here it is. We can click on the function, and it will give you here like some description about what we need about this function. Did I answer your question here, Francis?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I will just close this one with this card changes.
Thank you, Bassam, and thank you, Francis, for your question. Before moving to the next session, we have two questions in the chat. One from Bernadette, who is asking if you could elaborate a bit on the sharing.
Sharing?
Hi,
Yes.
Manon, Bassam. Thank you. I think it's already covered. Yeah, Bassam just went
okay.
through it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a question from Chad, who is asking if you worked with data that has hexel tags. And if you need the question to be more accurate, you can directly look at the chat, if possible. If not, I can read it.
Please go ahead, Manon.
So have you worked with data that have hexel tags? Are there any tips for working or maybe working around hexel tags in a data set?
To be honest, I didn't understand exactly what do you mean. Maybe this is something I didn't work on it with it so far. And the purpose of this session is to like cover the basics here. So maybe if we can come back to this question after the session, find something and come back to you.
Thank you. Yes, if you have any question, as the time frame is quite short for this webinar and we have a lot to cover, feel free to drop your question in the chat and we will be organizing a follow-up webinar, or we will go back to you bilaterally to answer your questions. So if there is no further question, I think we can move to the next item.
Okay, so let me just go back to our session here. So I think we covered most of the issues here. This is the distribution that if you are interested, you can just highlight some of them just to see the tagging here, the column number, blah, blah, blah. So the next slide will be about DAX. So as we talked before, DAX stands for Data Analysis Expressions. This is a very powerful like language that allow you to control and calculate your data with no need to like do a very complex courses like you need programming languages or like SQL and to know all these advanced like the code in the SQL. It could be a bit similar to Excel because you will by that you will add calculated columns and measures, and there is a lot of issues we can cover here. But as I mentioned, this is just a basics to familiarize the guys who are not working day to day in their work with the scripting. So this is just to encourage you to look more for about the coding. For me, sometimes I can just create a full dashboard without write any code. It's just like if our data model is solid and based on solid data and clean data, so we'll just like put them all, create a relationship between them, go visualize, no need to do more calculation. So the next slide. So why we need DAX? So as I said, when you create calculated columns and measures, it will be a bit easier than working with M, because when we want to create columns or custom columns in M, every time we need to change something, we should go to the query editor and do our modifications, close, load, wait everything to be loaded again. So it will take time, especially if you're not very sure about your code. But in DAX, it will be automatic working. So here we have two basic concepts. It's calculated columns and calculated measures. So the calculated column is the column you can add into the data model or into a table using the code and using DAX formula. So this column, the added column, it will be iterated over for each record over a table, and it will be unique at the table name. But at the same time, it will be added to the table, so it will consume some storage. So if you have more and more calculated columns, it will affect the storage. So just to make sure about it, we will go to a very like basic example here. So here we have our data. And if you here, you can see we have here the canvas for report view, and here we have the data. We can see our data here, and as I mentioned, we can find here the data model. So if I want to add some a calculated column just to see the losses and the injuries, what I can do, I can go to the table and right click and click new column. Here it will give me in the formula bar quick column name. So we will write here like all affected people, and we will start typing the lose. So first of all, we need to write the table. Once you start the table, it will give you automatic autocomplete. So it's very advised to use the automatic autocomplete, because if it didn't show you what do you need, so probably you have a problem and it will not work eventually. So make sure you are always use this this methodology. And I will add another one for the injuries. So here for the injured. So when I click here, this one. So as you see, we find here a new calculated column. So why we are seeing this 0? I think because we should change the we have here. Okay, so here we can have this the calculation here. So if as you see, we just write the formula and in one place, and it is iterated over all records in our table. So this is one of the issues we can use. So here we can find our calculated column. We can just drag and drop here, choose the card, and you can see, okay, we have our calculation, our calculated column here as a figure. So this is the main use of the calculated column. At the same time, we can use at the same time we can use the same methodology in M, but it will be up to you if we want to add the column here or in M, or basically in the basic data in your Excel or your data source, for instance. The next issue we will use here the measures. So the measure is a dynamic calculation, or let's say an aggregation of some result based on the context, or based on the filter context. So what is the benefit of this, or the feature of the measures? First, it's unique on the level of the data model. It's not related just to one table, and it is added to the filter context. It will not be like and similar to the calculated column. It will not be added to the size of the table. It will be just in memory, but at the same time, it will affect the performance. So if you use a lot of measures, it may overwhelm your report. So make sure you balance just the needed measures here. So we will create another calculated measure. So we can right click on the table, click new measure, and let's say we need to create the total death. and this should be sum of the losses. That's it. And make sure after you create your measures just to adjust the data type and the format. So now if I just do it again, put it here. So it will just give me this this figure here. And let's say we will have a matrix, and we need here to add this two figures here. We will add the affected people, and we will add the total measure, and we will add the admin level 1. Now you can see, because we have this active relationship between these two tables, it will automatically be filtered or disaggregated between to this let's say. And you can see here the total here is the same as here. So what is good about creating the measures and why we need them? Because measures will be could be controlled by the calculated the calculate function, which will let us manipulate the filter context. What is the meaning of this? So if we want to add a calculation here, a measure just for the city of Aleppo, let's say, how can we do it? Again, we can go to our table, new measure. Let's say we need total death Aleppo. And here, what we can do, we can use calculate function. What is the table? We need sum of the needs of losses. And after that, we can provide for this function, we can provide the filter we need. So what we can use is to use this. So here we can use this name just to be, well, Aleppo will not work because so now we can see here if we just added here, added as, so if you can see the very good thing in Power BI that we can do the automatic filtering. So if I just click here, for instance, I click just this column, it will automatically filter the other figures. But if you can see the total death Aleppo, it didn't affect because it will just show us Aleppo side. So no matter the applied filter is, so it will just give us the same result. I think calculate is one of the most important functions in DAX, and we will use it a lot. And there is a lot of options to manipulate this filter. So you can ignore the filters, you can impose some filters, you can ignore apply it for specific columns or specific tables. So it's a long story, but it's worth mentioning calculate function since we are talking about DAX. So this is one of the issues I needed to highlight it. And what is next here? Okay, so any question regarding the measure before I move? Because this is a bit crucial.
We had some question in the chat. One
Okay.
question from Tarek, who is asking, can we use two sources of table in one M code to do some calculation across tables?
Can we use two files or data source?
Two sources of tables.
Yes, and this is exactly what we did here. But this is not done on the DAX side, actually. This is done on the M side. So imagine you have two similar tables from two different files, and you need to merge them or do some relationship between them. So this could be done by the query editor. So you can go here, check your table, and you can go to this section here. So you can append this query, but it should be like at least should be the same structure if you want to append, or like should be some common columns between them. Or if you want to merge them, so you can apply here the join as we do it in SQL. We can do join here. I don't know if I answered the question or.
Thank you, Bassam. I believe you did answer the question. It was a question from 5 minutes ago, so I believe you went through the process afterwards. But Tarek, would you like to elaborate your question or?
No, it's okay. You already mentioned. So
thank you. And then we had a comment from Anna Maria discussing about the Hexel tags. Or how to tags with Excel. And as of now, we don't have any other question.
Okay, so one good issue about the measures, since they are unique at the data model level and not related to one table, so we can create it. If you create it by mistake in different table, it will work. Maybe it's not just that logic, but it will work. So the best practice is always to use a measure table. So we can add here a new table. And this table should be just so it's just enter data manually. So here we just need to name it. And I will keep this column, this dummy column, and I will keep it empty. So now, since I just added a new table here, I can go to my expression, to my measures, click on it, and it will give me here the measure tools, and I can choose the table here, and I will remove it or move it into this table. So this is useful because sometimes, especially when you have a very big columns or data sets, so sometimes you just need to build your quick report, and you don't have time to look specifically for each column, and sometimes the columns names are similar to each other. So if we just put our calculation in one place, this will be the best. I can do the same for this one as well. And now I can come here to this dummy column, and I don't need it. Click here and delete from model. And that's it. And if you notice, everything still the same. We just move the calculated measures from our tables to in one place. Actually, we can do a similar issue. This is a new feature from PowerBi. I don't know if you are aware of it. So we can fold our columns into one place. So let's say I want to fold these to add them to a folder for the latitude and the longitude. So I should go to the model view, go to this to the mentioned table, select my columns, and I can come here, display folder. I can say, okay, this is location. Click enter. So here you can find I added just a logical level of organizing our data. So basically, you can see, okay, these two columns are just based under location, and you can do for the rest of columns. So you can add more folders, and you can reach them like easily, especially when the dataset are there is a lot of columns in your dataset. And if you want just to remove it, you can just do the same. Select here, select the columns we want, and come again in this properties here. And again, this is just only open in the model view. And come here and just delete. Click enter, and it will come. So this way is a pretty good example how we can organize your work, and easy to reach your columns and your data. So I think we'll move to the next one. So I think we only have 5 minutes. The last issue I will cover here, I will cover the DAX Studio. So before jumping to DAX Studio, do you have any question on this?
Yes, we have a question from Cornet. Cornet, would you like to jump in and to let us know your question out loud, or would you like me to read it?
That's fine, thank you. I can pose that question actually. Thank you so much, Bassam, for the demo. I work with PowerBi, but I still have some difficulties using the DAX expression, especially with the measures. Sometimes it happens that I would like to create a measure that filters only like variables that have certain values. For instance, to be more precise, I work with population movements data. So sometimes I would like to filter only those localities that have IDPs, for instance, and then put that in the bubble in the tip tool, so I can see that information come up. So yeah. My question is, to be precise, what are the formula or function combinations that we can use to have that information filter using a measure? Thank you.
Yes, this is exactly why I refer to the calculate filter, to calculate function. Sorry. So here, if you can see the measure itself, it just impose a filter. So we just added here this filter. So no matter you try to display any kind of data or filtering, so it will be the same. Even if, let's say, if I take this measurement and add it to the table here, you see it will just repeat it. So it doesn't it doesn't submit to the filter applied here. So because we have here a filter based on the admin 1 level, so it will just give you the same results no matter what you added. So in case you have such issues, and I know because Calculate has a lot of possibilities, we can add filter, remove filter, all, except. So there is a lot of parameters we can use with Calculate. I read once, like for the people who are working with DAX, 80% of their work is using Calculate. So I think if we go through the Calculate options and parameters, you will find whatever you want. I have had some question 2 weeks ago in the IM teams in order to see what is the most functions you are using as IMOs. I didn't get like something related to Calculate, so I assumed maybe you are not using such issues. But it's good to know that you already have this possibility and this business need. So maybe we can add another webinar later on to discuss like special issues with DAX, which I believe it's very useful to all of us to understand and work with. I hope I answered your question.
Sure enough. Thank you, Bassam.
Now, so we will go to the DAX Studio. So DAX Studio is just this URL. This is just an external tool we can use to evaluate our code. So as you can see here, or you see me like minutes ago, in order to see the number here and to evaluate my code, maybe I'm still building something, I need to add it to the as a visualization here, change some, you know, some features or format it. But I need something to do more programming, more debugging. So if you go to this URL, and I will drop it in the chat, and you can just download like the one you is useful for you. Actually, I believe this is just for Windows. It's not applicable for Mac so far. Maybe this will be solved in the coming days or weeks. So once you install it, we can go to okay. So first of all, I need to close this. And now I will open it again. Once you install it on your device, you will open it. And if you already connected to one of the so you can here connect to multiple users, multiple data sources. The one we are using now is PowerBi. So this will give you, since I already opened this PowerBi file, so it will automatically give you the file you are working on. You can connect. And as you see here you have the same tables you already have. So you can just hover on the table names and it will give you some analysis about it. So it will give you, what is this? Is this a table? It has just two measures. And if you go here to your data, you can see, okay, how many columns, the rows, and it will give you like the top 10 records generally. As you can see here, if you hover on the column, because sometimes you are working with some data you're not familiar with, it's not your data, it will be just a quick issues to work. And if you want to do your evaluation for certain code, so I can just need to know exactly what is the value of one of the measures. So I just can go evaluate. And after that, and this is a much higher space to us in order to write our code. So if I just drag here, drag and drag, and do the run, so it will just give me the value of the code. And if you are interested in writing more and more data, it will be easier here to us. One of the issues we can do is to add add more code, complex code, and it will easily can find it here, and you can format your query and give you the output and give you the log, how, like, give you some performance analysis, how your measures are working, and do you have the exact number you need, and if there are any problems in the calculation, is it okay? I think that's it. I tried to cover a lot of issues. Maybe you can see them a bit scattered. They are not related to one topic, but this is just 1 hour, and we needed to cover two topics, and each of them need, there is a lot of trainings online, and I try just to give you an overview about how to deal with some code inside Power BI, and I encourage you to work more with the scripts. Maybe you are working with R, already with R or Python, but this is still good tools to manipulate your data. I think we already passed the time. Thank you.
we have a question regarding ChatGPT and the session. So the question is, have you or any colleagues used ChatGPT to generate DAX code? If so, does it work well?
Yes, actually, I use ChatGPT especially with DAX, because sometimes you find it is a bit complicated. The issue is it will give you 60 to 70% of your work. It will give you a good code, but it's not reliable. Sometimes it gives me try this code, and I found that the function itself is not included in DAX and when I say, okay, I couldn't find this this function name, or is it problem in my version, say, okay, sorry, I didn't, I have mistake. It's like that, like a human, and will give me another version of the code and it work. So I can't say we can ignore it, and but we can't rely on it 100%. Sometimes it will not give you the exact code you need. But actually, it will be much better than using Google, because in Google you can find scenarios really related to your work. But I think it's pretty interesting feature in the coming days. Hope I answered.
Thank you, Bassam, and thank you, colleagues.